guess, yeah, nobody's here. We can start. That's fine. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the Board of Selectmen. We are now sworn in. We're no longer Selectmen-elect, but we are the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Woodbridge. It's 4:30 p.m. on Thursday, July 2nd, 2015. This meeting is a continuation of our efforts to be sure that we have confirmation of our appointments for critical town positions, as well as board and selectmen, as well as board and commissions of the town, volunteer commissions. This process began on June 24th at a duly called meeting of the Selectmen-elect. And under our town charter, it provides that before the new board is sworn in, they can come together to make the necessary appointments so that on July 1st, everything continues smoothly into the new year. As I've noted at meetings on this topic over the last couple of weeks, on June 24th, just a couple of hours before the meeting was to convene, the Republican Selectmen-elect notified me that they would not be attending the meeting. And the purpose of their not attending the meeting, which was confirmed later, was to deny us a quorum so that we would not be able to conduct the critically important and time-sensitive business that was before us that night. I want to review once more what our process is for these appointments. It is a process that has been used for decades by every administration, Republican and Democratic. It is the process that was used 2 years ago, and it was the process that, of course, we intended to use on the 24th. I explained it that night as well, and I think it's important to reiterate once again what our process is. We have many openings on boards and commissions. They come up every 2 years. And the way the process proceeds is that the Republican and Democratic town committees each get applications of interested people who would like to serve the town. They conduct interviews and make recommendations that are presented at the meeting of the Board of Selectmen-elect. This year, as in many past years, there are many qualified people who are willing to serve the town. This year in particular, we had just terrific people, and of course we can't put them all on the boards and commissions, but the process is ongoing during the year when people resign, and we have opportunities to include more people as the year goes on. The resumes are exchanged between the Republican and Democratic town committees and members of the Board of Selectmen. So all of us on the board, at the time Selectmen-elect, had all of the resumes, and I can speak for myself, and I believe I can speak for Beth and Susan, that we had reviewed every resume, whether submitted by Democrats or Republicans. We all saw them, and we all reviewed them. I also like to mention when we talk about this process that it is in part governed by state statute. So there can only be a certain number of people from any one party on a board or commission, and that in some way controls what we do. For example, if we have 3 openings on a board and we already have 2 Republicans on the board, we cannot put 2 more Republicans on the board. By statute, it limits how many people can be from any one party. So that also governs our actions. The process we follow once we come to the meeting, again, this is the process that has been followed for decades by Democrats and Republicans, is that the majority party, and in this case, this year, it is the Democratic Party, makes recommendations for open positions. We go by each commission. The recommendations are made, nominations are made, and seconded. And then the minority party, this year it is the Republican Party, makes its recommendations, and they are seconded. In making the recommendations, it's up to the person who is making the motion to present as much or as little information as that person desires. On June 24th, Beth Heller made the recommendations and explained the qualifications of every person. In past years, the minority party did the same thing, and that's what we had expected to happen on June 24th. The minority party makes its recommendations, providing us with as much or as little information as they would like. We then vote on the nominations in the order presented. And once all positions are filled, we make the announcement the positions are filled, and we do not vote on any remaining nominees. This is very important for 2 reasons. One is, it makes absolutely no sense. It would be ludicrous to vote on a name if there is no position available. I don't even know if it's permissible under the rules. It just would make no sense. The second thing is, it avoids the necessity of having to have someone be rejected by the board. There's no reason for us to reject a nominee, particularly when they're being nominated for a non-existent position. And that has worked very well to encourage volunteers to come before us and be part of the process. In addition to the boards and commissions, we also were reappointing many of our very, very important town officials. Our town clerk, our tax collector, our assessor, our administrative officer's term is up. These are essential positions in the town of Woodbridge. We cannot operate without them being in their offices and at work. What we did not know on June 24th, but we have since researched to be sure about, is that under our charter, if the new appointments are not made, the existing people holding the positions do hold over. So fortunately, and I think it speaks to the wisdom of our charter, all of those key positions will hold over. In addition, the board and commission positions hold over. That is a bit more problematic. I think it will cause confusion and uncertainty on the different boards and commissions. It's one of the reasons it was so important to complete this work before July 1st. So on June 24th, we had, again, with only a couple of hours' notice, we went ahead, even though we did not have a quorum, and did all of the appointments. The Republican selectmen notified us that they believed those appointments were not valid, and they would be seeking legal advice about how to negate any action by anyone appointed at that meeting. That made it very important that we ratify the appointments made. So, for example, if we had the tax collector holding over, there would be no question about her authority. However, if she was acting as appointed on June 24th, there might be some question. So I followed up immediately with a special meeting to ratify all the actions that were taken on the 24th. We scheduled that meeting for June 30th so that everything would be in place on July 1st, but again, we had no quorum. The Republican selectmen did not attend the meeting. Yesterday, having seen that happen on the 30th, I scheduled this meeting for this evening so that once again, as expeditiously as possible, we could make the appointments. And tonight, rather than simply ask for ratification, I put on the agenda the original agenda so that we would give the Republicans an opportunity again to present their resumes and their nominees. But as you see this evening, they are not here. Therefore, we will not be able to confirm the nominations, and we will be acting under the carryover for some additional time. Tomorrow is the beginning of the July 4th weekend, and I have been informed that the Republican members of this board will be available sometime next week. They've offered actually many times next week, so I'm optimistic that we will have a meeting, but again, it will not happen tonight. I do want to say once again that this tactic of boycotting a meeting when you don't agree with something on the agenda is wholly unacceptable and an abrogation of the responsibility of the selectmen of the town of Woodbridge. Yesterday, we all took an oath to uphold our responsibilities, and that has not been the case. Also, these actions taken in conjunction with other actions of the town, and particularly following the tone and nature of the campaign this year, suggests to me that the town of Woodbridge is at a crossroads. The question is, will our town continue the courteous, civil discourse of the past many decades, or is there an effort afoot to bring the partisan gridlock of Washington, D.C. to our small town? I hope that the latter is not the case, and I call on all our colleagues, regardless of party, to join together in advancing the best interests of the town of Woodbridge and the residents of our town. And I am optimistic that starting next week, we will start on that tone and continue the business of the town. Not having a quorum, there is no other business. I don't know if Beth or Susan, if you'd like to make any comment. If not, this meeting is adjourned. I just want to say have a happy July 4th weekend. Ending on a happier note.
Okay.
Yeah, tell me when.